welcome and welcome back to All Things Academic with Aerika, aka Professor Loyd. On this channel, we talk about academic lifestyle and planning for passion and productivity. Before we get started, go ahead and give this video a like because it helps the word get out to more folks, and let's get into it. I'm going to talk about my experience being a study abroad student. So recently I was on a research panel and I was giving a research presentation and someone asked me how my work has shaped my life. And I thought that was a really great question because one of the ways that my work has impacted me is that it took me abroad. So what happened was, in the second year of my PhD program, I applied for a Fulbright to go abroad and study with a research project in Johannesburg, South Africa. And we pulled all of our letters together. We put together the strongest application we could put together. We pulled our letters of support together. We submitted the Fulbright, and it was not funded. And I was so disappointed that I wouldn't be able to go abroad, and I was really looking forward to working with the project and spending my third year abroad. After my proposal wasn't funded, the project came back and they said, hey, we still have some funds to support the research if you still want to do it. However, you have to buy your own plane ticket. And so I scrounged together as much money as I could pull together, and I might have put some money on a credit card, maybe I did or maybe I didn't, and I was able to come up with the money for my plane ticket to fly to Johannesburg, and I went abroad. And what's interesting is before I went abroad, I had the conversation with lots of mentors, including my primary advisor, and I said, I have this really great opportunity to go study abroad and to learn some new research skills and to implement my own research project. And many people did not think that I should go off the beaten path and go study abroad. They wanted me to stay on the very traditional, straight and narrow research path and graduate on time. They said, if you leave, you're probably not going to finish. And there was only one mentor who said the most formative thing to me that actually impacted me and impacts me so much today. What that mentor said was, if you say no to these types of experiences when you're young, it's less likely that you're going to say yes to those experiences later, because we have so many more responsibilities, we have so many more reasons that will prevent us from doing the things that we want to do. So that one mentor encouraged me to think about, is this the type of person or researcher or the type of experience that I really want to have? And if I could see myself doing that in the future. And I realized that, as you get kind of further along in your life and in your career, it would be more difficult for me to pick up and move for a year and relocate everyone or no one for that year. And so I decided that was the piece of advice that I needed. I needed to hear that piece of advice, and that inspired me to decline a really prestigious fellowship for the year and instead go abroad and work with a really fantastic research project. So I got on the plane and I flew to South Africa, and I spent the year designing my own research project and working with really great collaborators, and we published a couple of those papers. And it was just such a great experience. I learned so many things by being a study abroad student. So I have 3 lessons that I learned from that experience. The first thing is to not be afraid to veer off the traditional path. So thinking back to my mentor's advice, sometimes those experiences that might seem like off the beaten path can actually be one of the most formative experiences of your life and your career. So don't be afraid to go off that traditional path, to veer off, to make some different decisions, maybe to go against the advice of people who really care about you, but don't be afraid to veer off that path, because it can lead to some of the most incredible discoveries and can lead to some of the most incredible growth that you'll experience in your life and in your career. The second lesson that I learned as a study abroad student that was really impactful for me as a professional and as a student is to take responsibility for my own career and my own life choices. So in that experience, I had to decide, do I want to take the advice of lots of people, or I have this urge or feeling to go do this experience? And I didn't have to stay for an entire year. I could have just done a semester. But I said, if I'm going to do this experience, I'm going to really commit. I'm going to commit for a whole year. I don't want to just go for a semester. I don't want to just go for a few months. I want to commit to this project and to this team, and this is the work that I'm going to do. And so you take responsibility for those life and career choices that you make for yourself, whether they're good or bad. So that experience totally could have blown up in my face, and I totally could have taken forever to graduate or potentially never graduated from my PhD program. But I did graduate, and I graduated only a few months later than I expected, and I was still able to start a postdoc that I applied for, and I was still able to come back to the US, and I was able to graduate on time. So it may not have worked out, but in my case, in this case, it did. It taught me to take responsibility for my career choices, whether they're good or bad. The third really important thing that I learned from that experience was just to be open to new experiences. And so in my field in science, it's really great when we discover new things, and part of the fun of being a scientist is that you get to test theories and test hypotheses, and sometimes it doesn't work out, but sometimes it does, and it really pays off. I was challenged to think outside of my comfort zone, to think outside of my cultural norms, and to think outside of some things that I thought were truths that are not necessarily universal truths. And it's important for us to think about that in terms of our work as well. I became more open to diverse life experiences and to thoughts and ideas just through that experience of being a study abroad student. So if you're a study abroad student, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because it often pushes you beyond your cultural norms and boundaries. So I hope I said something interesting today in this experience. So as I said, I spent a year abroad in South Africa. In the third year of my PhD program, I jokingly like to say I pulled a Dave Chappelle, because in the third year of my program, or in the second year of my program, at the end of my second year, I was incredibly stressed and almost burnt out on my work. And so going abroad was really reinvigorating for me and helped me really consolidate my love for research, reignited my love for research, exposed me to really great science and a really amazing research team and really great collaborators and friends that I'm still in touch with today. If you like this type of content, if you like talking about academic topics, give this video a like. Consider subscribing so you could join us on the journey as we talk about more academic topics. If there's something you'd like me to cover, post that in the comments below. If I have any study abroad students or international students that watch this channel, tell me where you're from. Tell me where you're from and where you're studying. I would love to hear and connect with more folks who've done study abroad. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, everyone.